Welcome to the webinar. Here we are on Tuesday, August 9th. My name is Phil Anthony. I work with ICC and I'm a digital code specialist working with our digital products in the codes. And today we're going to do an overview of the Digital Codes Premium platform. I'll go over all the features, benefits, and things like that. Go through a couple PowerPoint slides here with general information and then walk through and do an actual demo on the DCP site. If you do have questions, please feel free to post them in chat. If I see them as we're going through, I will stop and take the time to answer them right then. If not, definitely we'll leave time at the end to answer any questions and open up the mic if people want to ask questions to the group as well too. So, all right, in the past, people could only access building codes and standards and printed materials, more recently PDFs, but with Digital Codes Premium, if I refer to it as DCP, you'll know the acronym now. We've moved past those limitations of having content just on paper. With the Digital Codes Premium software, people are now able to easily access codes everywhere. The information is always up to date, and you can easily collaborate with your team members and clients. If you've visited our website previously, you've probably seen some of these features that we have on it, but these are things I'll kind of dive into a little bit more. But we do have the different packages. We mentioned Digital Codes Premium Complete has over 800 titles in it currently. iCode standard supplements and everything. We do have a mobile app which does allow offline view. All the other titles that come with it, including significant code changes, commentaries, the ability to organize notes, create notes, share those with people, bookmark, highlight, and annotate. You are all able to do those things on the DCP platform, along with probably the most popular feature, the fact that you can copy and print sections of some of these titles. You have the ability to do advanced search and save searches, and we'll go into that a little bit more as well too. When you acquire Digital Codes Premium licenses, you have the ability to create them as being individual licenses assigned to one user, or put them into groups where you can share and collaborate the content. I will point out that we do have the 14-day free trial. It's on the main page of our website. The website, I'll pull it up in a second, is codes.iccsafe.org. But you can do a 14-day free premium trial. It is for the complete package. You'll be able to see all the content that's on there. There's no credit card needed or anything. You're just able to log in, set up an account, and start accessing the content right away using those features you see here. At the same time, since you do have a 14-day subscription that's active, you could also download the mobile apps and test those out and use those at the same time for those 2 weeks. All right, so as I mentioned, the platform we refer to as Digital Codes Premium. Now you can order different subscriptions and licenses on the platform. Of course, we do have singles. Those would be like single individual titles like the IBC, if that's all that you needed to reference. There's also collections. Probably the most common one would be like a particular cycle of the iCodes. That would be a collection that would be priced a little bit lower because you're getting them all together. And then complete would have all the titles that I mentioned currently available. There's like 800 titles that are on there. We keep adding more content. We do have, for example, letting people know that ASTM, the references in the 2021 iCodes that reference ASTM, we got 500 plus standards coming aboard in the probably by mid-September. And these are just some of the other logos of some of the organizations that have content on the Digital Codes Premium platform as it references in with the iCodes. There's different subscription packages, the premium singles, as I mentioned, the collections, and then the complete. Like I said, I always mention that complete should probably be the first one you look at just because of all the number of titles that are included in it. And if you start individually packing packaging like premium singles or collections together, you get probably pretty close to the price of what the premium complete would cost. And also, to make it a little bit easier, we do offer some pretty aggressive discounting on lower quantities of orders. So it makes it easier to go ahead and start off with at least the number of licenses that you think would work for your particular organization for the number of people that would be accessing it. And then there's also a 3-year plan that offers even more savings as well too. There's a pricing calculator on our website, and I will display that as we're going through this as well too. I'll also mention the Digital Codes Premium Enterprise platform. This is an option for larger organizations, and I'll just point this out at the beginning here in case there are questions later. Basically, the difference would be that on the enterprise platform, there would be dedicated seats rather than individual licenses. Now, the software, the user interface and everything is exactly the same. But if you're having in a larger organizations, maybe 20, 50 people who need to have all-time access, this makes it a little bit easier to roll out the deployment. You can upload spreadsheets of names and email addresses. You can deactivate users, reactivate. Just kind of has a little bit more administrative functionalities than with the DCP licenses. So just wanted to mention that and point that out. We'll circle back to those questions as well later. But let me go on to the digital codes. So as I mentioned, this is where the platform resides. If you want to pull this up on your screen, feel free to do that and kind of navigate through and see if you got questions on it. But it is codes.iccsafe.org, and as you see, I'm not signed in yet. Here is the 14-day free trial link that you can jump right to. But some of you may be familiar with this already. This is a public-facing site that has free basic view for a lot of the content, a lot of the I-codes, a lot of the all the I-codes, a lot of the local states, locations that have made their content available in free basic view. But for example, if I were to just start with the I-codes, as you can see, the nice thing about digital content is it's easy to present all the different cycles. In the I-codes, for example, goes back quite a ways here. But if I were to pull up, let's say the 2018 I-codes, as you see, I'm still not signed in. So what I'm looking through here is what people can see for free. So I'm going to pull up IBC for an example. And as that loads up, it presents the book, as you can see here. Another great feature about having things delivered digitally, I'll point this out right over here. Currently viewing the sixth version. So obviously we start with the first version, but whenever a new version comes out, it automatically gets loaded right into this platform. So you'll always be presented with the most current version, but you also have the ability to go back, as we said, in different versions and different cycles. So to kind of point out, if I'm looking at this in free basic view, you see we can go through our code sections here. It breaks out if we want to go into individual subsections. And once again, I'm still not signed in, but as you can see, I go through here and I'm able to view some of this free basic content. Now I'm looking at this, it did actually just log me in here for some reason, but as you can see, now that I'm logged in, it has a few more logos and features here that would not be available if you weren't logged in. For example, the first thing I can do right here, as you see me highlighting, I can just Control-C, Control-V this into another document or an email. So you do have the ability to copy and paste content that is in the sections here. Now, also, as you see popped up over here, a few of these icons that are in the right. Let me highlight this again. This would have the ability to create custom notes. This will keep that section that I highlighted within the title, and you have the ability to select project tags. Some people want to do by different addresses, properties, commercial properties, or whatever you'd like to have. You could go ahead and put this in here. You have to do a new tag. You have the ability to create custom colors, infinite colors here and everything, but it's just kind of nice to be able to organize and have your notes and however you want to save those, because What will happen here is then now these notes will be saved here. And you see just over at the code section, but if I'm in the title and I want to see notes that were made here, maybe by my team or other people in the department, I could click right on there. It's going to take me to that section, and there you can see that it has, the project tag code interpretations, who created it, and that was a custom note that I put within there. So that will appear if someone was scrolling down through this, they'd also be able to see this as well too. You also may be noticing that there are text in different colors. If you're looking to see a legend of what these mean, for example, the ones in blue would show code changes from the previous edition of the iCodes are in blue. There are in red if we're in some state specific amendment titles. Those will be shown in red, changes from the international codes. And then there's other here, the margin icons, deleted sections. And then this is what I was going through here. And I'll kind of come right back to those. And then there's other premium content that allows you to go through and see, for example, evaluation service reports for products that would, fall within those categories of the sections that you're in. Any errata, it would be able to break out and give you more explanation on that. Premium, additional premium materials available. Could be, the code changes, significant changes, code interpretations. There's even videos of the code development process. And this is one of the other icons, the CDP. If there was a proposal being made to change that part of the section, that would show you the proposal being presented, the proponents and everything as well too. So as you see, I'm scrolling through here. I'll go back to the top of the section here, pull this out again. I talked about the highlight, where you can highlight things. The bookmark works in the exact same way, except instead of highlighting the text, it would just create a bookmark that you could locate either. And as you see, once again, the custom notes, we allow a lot of customization, being able to bold, strike through, bullet points and things like that. So you can really customize the message that you want to have retained there. Also have the ability to share links. If you were to use this little widget here, the email would come from ICC, but you would have the ability to just enter an email right in here. If you chose to have it come from your own email, you could just copy that URL and a simple button there. It's copied to the clipboard. You could put it in your email. And the nice thing about this is when they receive this link, for example, this is in the iCodes. As I mentioned, you have free basic view. If the person, resident or contractor, someone who may not have access to Digital Codes Premium, they would still be able to click on the link. It would take them to this section right here that you're referring to, and they could be able to read more in detail what that section was. You also have the ability to print from the title. You are not able to print the entire chapter or the entire book, but you can print sections with subsections. And as you see, it formats it really nicely here in like a PDF format, tells you where the copyright is so people knows it's authoritative source. It even tells you where it came from and the date that was printed. Now you could do two things with this. If you wanted to download this to the desktop and mark it up with a PDF editor, you'd have that ability. Or of course, you could send it to print and you'd be able to print that out there as well. Right, so that kind of explains some of the icons that I had here. Once again, I mentioned the notes that would show what is in each title. So let me go and further dive into the options that you have with notes, since this is probably one of the most popular features that people enjoy having. So on the administrative side, I just went into my notes administration here, and just to kind of explain it a little bit more clearly, notes could be bookmarks or highlights. Anytime that you've created that note, like I showed you, those would be there. And for example, if I go down to, let's say, the 2021 IBC, this would list all of the notes that were created within there. Tells you who created them. This one icon is a highlight. The bookmarks will just have that bookmark icon there. You could jump right to these specific notes if you wanted to from here. But there's also two other things that I think are a great feature that people enjoy having the access to. One is we can select these notes. And we can do two things with them. We go up to the top. I mentioned we did have a mobile app, and I promise to circle back to explain that a little bit more in the detail. But if you were using the mobile app without data, when you wouldn't have access to a notes, just to let you know, if you're attached to the internet via Wi-Fi or data, whether it's through a browser or on the mobile app, you can still access the notes and view notes. But if you're out in the field with no data access, you could bring, and you wanted to have access to the notes, you could, once again, as we said, print notes from across the section. It's going to generate nice little PDF with your title there, and that is one way you could take the notes with you when you don't have any data, but you could still access the code sections on your mobile app even when you're offline. Going back to here, here's these notes again. Once again here, I could migrate these notes. For example, I'm in 2021. When 2024 comes out, instead of having to go through and pull out all your little Post-it notes, sticky notes, and put them in the new ones, you have the ability where, actually two options. You could move them all, which would take them out of the 2021, put them in the 2024. Some people prefer just to clone them. I will leave them in 2021, and it will also put them in the 2024 cycle. And the system is intelligent enough to know that if the code sections have changed slightly, it knows where to attach them. So they would be able to go into the right section where they would belong. So that's just a little example there of the notes features. Another great thing is that you can do searches across the entire platform of content. So for example, if I'm going to do a search, which you probably know will bring back several results. I say that sarcastically, knowing it's about 24,000. Nope, 28,000. So here it goes. This just searched through all the titles we have, all the 800 titles. It has 28,000 results. But then we allow you to really drill in, and we try to do it in kind of a format that makes sense, where it starts broadly. For example, if you just wanted to search the I codes, although you could search specific states as well, but if I search just I codes, it will bring back results just from anything that would be in the I codes, drops it down significantly to 2,400. Then if you want to be more specific, and let's do 2018, as you see, it's going to narrow that down even further. And then if you're going to look into specific titles, IBC or whatever you'd like to have, you could be more specific there. And then it even gets down as to, you could go into figures, tables, equations, things like that too. But if I just take a look at what I found here, so the nice thing about when it returns the search, it's going to give you the option to view the breadcrumbs. So for example, you can see that this is coming from the IEBC, the IBC. So you're able to see which section you're coming from if you're looking in general over all the 2018 I codes. But you have the ability to start at the top of the title, start of the chapter, section, or jump right to the subsection. So I can jump right over there. It'll take me right into that section as well. Going back to the search, if this is a search that you use frequently, you'd be able to save it, and that would be in your saved searches in your dashboard. And then another feature that is pretty useful in certain circumstances, like if we're using that means of egress, you're probably familiar with these different search terms of using exact phrase or something that contains all the words or any of them or none of the words. But the near word search is really convenient. For example, if you're looking for basement egress, so you can do the advanced term search. And what it does with the near term search is looks where those two terms that you entered occur within 50 words of each other. So it really narrows it down even further. There's just 9 results there as well too. Another nice feature here is this is all web-based, which means it's not attached to a specific piece of hardware. If you have a subscription, you can, you're in the office, you can access it on your work computer, wherever you have access to a browser. If you're at home, using your personal computer, you would log into your own account. That would show the titles that you have the subscription to, and you can access it from any device. Let me go back to mention the mobile app as well too. And I'm not looking at the questions right now. I'm jumping all around the screen, but keep posting them. I definitely will circle back to those and answer them. So if we go to a little bit further down on that home page, if you look in the mobile app, this is where you could download that the app, and it kind of works like, I guess the easiest way to do it people are familiar with is like the Netflix app. When you download a movie, you're not actually downloading it into your phone's files, you're downloading it into the app. So you would access everything by going into the app. And as you can see here, this is the iPad, iPhone, but it is a very robust app. You can see the content's presented very similarly to what I was just showing, where you can go through the code sections. Once again, if you're attached to the internet via Wi-Fi or data, you can still access your notes and view those and create those. But you also have the ability to download any of the titles that you have access to. Now, we do limit it to 15, just for the amount of storage in the app there. But as I mentioned, there's over 800 titles. You could download any one of those. You could just delete one and add another one. And then once you are, like I said, out in the field, you would still have the ability to view any of the codes from the books that you have downloaded, even if you do not have any internet access. Go through the menu real quick, and then I'll talk about configuring the licenses and how we're able to share subscriptions. But as you can see here, there's got it all organized where you could jump right to particular locations, standards. Goes right back to the main menu. Show you the dashboard real quick here. It just kind of organizes everything for you. For example, it will show you the most recently viewed. As we just saw, we're just in 2018 IBC. If you wanted to favorite a title, there is I'll go over here, show you there's a heart right up here. Any of those that you favorite then would be easily viewed right here in the favorites dashboard. And then if you're interested to see what was newly added, you're able to see those. Like I said, continue to put out the code and commentaries. Having access to those, people really love to have on here, because if you open up a code and commentary, I guess I can show you that real quick right here. If you're familiar with the code, you can just jump right to the section. And as you're scrolling through, you can see these diamonds here. This is the actual part that would be the commentary of that section, but kind of nice feature. You can hide it. Took away all those diamond entries, and then if you want to show it, it puts it all right there. So instead of having those big volumes of code and commentary all together, it's kind of nice. It's all electronic right here, very easy to search and to view as you're going through. A premium for teams. This is what we call our platform's features to allow the ability to collaborate with your team members. Here's where I mentioned at the beginning, where we have the DCP concurrent licenses or the enterprise seats. I did mention the enterprise seats. I'll just overview that once real quickly now. This is for people with guaranteed access, so they have dedicated seats, because you do have the ability to share concurrent licenses, but you would be limited of simultaneous access by the number of licenses that you have. Let's say, for example, you have 25 people in your department. You could acquire just 5 licenses and share those among the team members. What you could do is create a concurrent group of 5 licenses. That concurrent group will have a name, and that will be the code that people would enter to go into that group. So if you distribute that code to your 25 employees, each one of them would log into this website here. They would have their own name. It's free to free to set up an account. And then when they are logged in, the next step would be go to this concurrent access here. And that's where the screen would pop up where you would enter the code. So 25 people could be able to share those 5 licenses in that concurrent group. first 5 in would get access. If a 6th person attempts to log in and use that concurrent code, they'll get a message that says that all licenses are currently being used in the concurrent group, and they would have to log in later. Just to let you know, if someone is logged into a concurrent group taking up a license, they would be logged off after 20 minutes of inactivity, so they're not monopolizing the license there, so no one else can use it. But as we said, it's very convenient that you can acquire the licenses. Let me pull up this screen right here, for example. You could acquire as many licenses as you want, and it costs the same. It's just a DCP license. Whether you decide to make it individual or make it shared, that's up to you. We have the ability to configure that in your account. So for example, this is, well, let's just put this in for the example. This pricing calculator is available on the shop store, and it's also on the digital codes, but I'll just use this so you can see these examples. Once again, next year we do price these pretty aggressively with discounts at lower numbers. So, check through. If you're going to get 4, maybe look at getting 5. It might be just a few dollars more. And then here's the option. Once again, if you can do 3 years, it drops it down another significant level, another 28%. But just getting back to that, you acquire those 5 licenses. Whoever acquires them, if you're logged in as an ICC member, which I am, it is displaying membership pricing. So if you have a membership, that would be the person to acquire it. The other 25 users don't need to be members, but if you're a member of ICC, you do get that special pricing. Those 5 licenses would go into your account, and then may as well show you right over here. When you're logged into your account, you would configure those licenses. So in this, continue the same example. If you're logged in, you would have acquired 5 licenses. First of all, they would be 5 personal licenses. As we're here, I guess I could mention, if you acquired 5 licenses and wanted to assign them to individual people, you would have that ability as well too. If someone has their own license, then they're able to log in whenever they want. No one else would be using that license. That's what assign means. If we're going back to our example of making those 5 concurrent, then we go through the process here of creating a concurrent code. I won't go through this because I only have 1 license in here, but as you generate the code, you'd have the ability to put those all in one group, and there'd be 5 licenses, and whoever you give that concurrent group name to could log in. For example, though, if you did want to have everyone to have access and not be locked out, you could use that same example of having 5 licenses in one concurrent group and only give it to 5 people. Then they would still have the ability to share notes, view notes amongst each other. But since there's only 5 licenses and only 5 users, no one would be locked out because of someone already using it. So I'll expand on that point a little bit more. The notes and the collaboration would be tied together with a concurrent group. This gives you some convenience because there's some departments with maybe 2 different groups. Let's expand the example and say, let's say you get 10 licenses. You could make 2 concurrent groups, each of 5 licenses, and you would have the ability then that the concurrent group notes would be separate from the other concurrent group notes. Some people like to have it that way. So there is a lot of flexibility. People always ask, what happens if one of my employees leaves? If that happens, you can't actually remove them from the group. They still have the code. What you would then do is go back to your group of concurrent licenses, and you would change the name of the group, and then that would be the new code, and then you would distribute that just to the people that you would want to have access to. All right, I'll take a short break here and check the chat box here. Like I said, feel free to keep posting. I'm the only one hosting today. Usually I have a partner with me to read these questions yet. NFPA Incorporated. We do not currently have the NFPA Incorporated. We are always adding new content. As you know, different standard development organizations license their content differently. If you're accessing NFPA, I'm almost guessing that you're probably only getting accessing on PDF because that's the way they license it. We are looking to expand the number of offerings that we have. Let me pull this up here just as an example here. This is a complete list of the titles in complete. And when you do have access, well, you can search through here, even if you don't have the free trial. But as we see, this is a dynamic number, keeps going up as more titles are being added. And you could actually search through and see which titles are included. Going back to the question about the NFPA, there is the ASHRAE standards, which we do reference in the I-codes, and there's a, like a brief synopsis of it, but then it's also ASHRAE standards are also available as premium add-on as an additional purchase. It's in the energy collection that we have in here, but as you can see, we're putting more premium content in here that would be an option for those people who like to have it on. So once again, roundabout answer to the short question about NFPA, not currently, but we are all adding more content. See someone asking about not having any audio at 1:15. I'm guessing people are still hearing me, but could you access the code commentaries from this version of digital codes? Absolutely. That's kind of what I was showing you there when we were in the, I clicked out of it already, in the commentary sections, but I can go right back again here to the top of the home page. And once again, if you want to see standards, the list of the ones that we have referenced in there, you can view those. Probably the best way is, like we said, try to do the free trial, and you'll be able to see exactly what standards are available. I'll mention some of them just for example. The AWC content in here. This one actually, because of licensing, just to point it out, it's in a PDF format. So that was how we our agreement with them, how they want to license it. So you can go through and scroll through and see the different sections. This one just is in a PDF format. So you don't have the ability to make notes and create, that content from those. But like we said, we're trying to add as much content as we can from as many different publishers as we're able to. So what else I can go through here real quick on the resources. As we mentioned, the commentaries, once again, you had that question. Those are included. All the different cycles as well too. The 2021s, I think we have all but 2 up on there. Those, as soon as those are ready, those will be put on the platform as well. We also added study companions. You can access those along with flashcards. When we announced this just a month ago, people were pretty excited about that. I don't know if any of you have taken exams on the Pronto exam system. But by the fall here, what they're going to do is start integrating digital code access while you're taking the exam. You're probably familiar if you've taken it before that it is an open book, but then people are buying a book just to study for it and then really not using it again. Whereas if you have access here to premium digital codes, you're able to use the study companions, the flashcards. You're able to make your own notes when you're in your own version. And then when the time comes to take the exam on the Pronto, you won't have access to your notes or anything, but you will have the ability to, as we mentioned, go to the actual code book, and you're familiar with how it's being presented already, so you kind of know how to navigate. Give an example here, how you can search by the different locations. Like we said, I was showing the information on this menu over here, but you can access it from the home page as well too. I don't know if anyone's from California, but the big news over the summer is they are doing their update to the code cycle. So we've just put this in there. And once again, if you're using California, and the 2022 just came out, also have the ability for just about every title we have all the previous code sections before too. If you ever have properties or jurisdictions that are on different code cycles, you are able to view the previous ones as well too. Go back to chat. And I do not have any further questions here. So I think I've gone through just about everyone. Usually we get a lot of questions if you got specific circumstances or objectives that you're trying to do, I can take that information. I'll turn the mic off, excuse me, unmute the participants if people want to participate, or raise your hand and I can unmute them. But, as we said here, going through here, I think I kind of went through all the different tools and features that you have. You have the ability to, once again, the premium for teams, the mobile app, and then any updates we also put on here as well too, so you can keep you up to speed. Question: when you migrate their notes and there are changes to the code, how are those highlighted? Well, within the codes, I'll pull up California. I think, the question, what you're asking is two different things here. The notes get migrated regardless to whichever current code section. But if you're talking about changes to the code, let me use an I code here. Take the 2021 this time. Do IRC. So as we said, if you were migrating notes from 2018 to 2021, and it was in, section 201.1, your notes would still appear right here where they're supposed to, and changes to the code are going to be indicated by that blue text. So the changes in blue, the blue text were changes from the previous section. So that's how you know that content has changed. But if you add a note attached to this section, whatever note you created and imported will remain there attached to the correct section as well too. And as I'm going through here, here's a good example of showing all the different icons that we have on here. Once again, you can see this shows that there was a bookmark made there. So I bookmarked this section, actually probably because it had all these different icons. I'll go through these real quick. So the E for errata, you could link to there and jump to see those the different documents that are related to that. The CDP code development process, which I mentioned, it shows the proposals that are being made. It shows the proponents, what's being proposed, what types of revision reasons. I don't know if anyone has attended the code hearings. I know I just was in the one in Rochester, and we're also going to be having the second meeting in September in Louisville at the national conference. So with that, let me jump to the premium first here. Additional premium material that's available related to this section would display here. And I know there's probably a hearing video. These will link up and open, and yep, there we go. So actual hearing videos of the previous session, CDP. As they become available, we make those right there. So those people who really want to dive into it and see what the proposal was and how it was being defined are able to do that. And then finally, the ES, the Evaluation Services Report by ICC. It would link out to, the different reports if you wanted to see that information in there as well as it pertains to products from that particular section of the code. Jump back to the chat. The NYCBC, we are working to add content. That one, I do not think we have yet. So good question. But if we go to locations, once again, as you can see, New York. Have the New York State ones. But yeah, this is an example of how you can go through and view what types of content on there as well too. And once again, if you're looking at complete, you can go through here and search for different titles as well too. I don't know if you want me to drop any of these links in the chat or if you're looking through it as well, but I will point that out. And I'll also, if you haven't gotten my contact information, I'll just put my email right up there once again. And I'll look to see if there's any more questions. I'll kind of wrap it up here, but I will stay on. If there's other questions, I'll open up the mic as well too, but just wanted to kind of summarize and let you know with the advent of having all of our codes digitized. It's just having the digital codes premium complete. It's a solution that's going to allow your organization to access codes. Standards are always up to date. It's from the authoritative source. Can be accessed almost anywhere, but anywhere you have a web browser, you can log in here, and also mobile devices. You can view content offline, and allows you to easily share content, collaborate with other members on your team, and as the code cycles update, you're able to go through and bring those notes to you in the next versions as well too. So I will go back to the actual platform. And let me just pull up the chat box again here too. Oh, great question. Someone asked if they already have an existing ICC account, if they need to maintain two of them. No, we have a single sign-on SSO for all of our platforms. So if you're already logging on, for example, to our store, but haven't used the ICC Digital Codes Premium yet, it would be the same login. So I'll sign out here again, just once again, so you can see the process. But it is different than our actual ICCSafe.org main website. DCP resides at codes.iccsafe.org. And here it is, your question being, for me to sign in, it would be the same ICC login information that you have had. And there that is kind of explained all through here, all the different, your login credentials allow you to go through all the ICC sites. Okay, I will look for if people have questions. You want to raise your hand if anyone wants to ask them aloud. I can turn off the mute. And if there are any other questions, I will stay on here as well. Notes for premium. If I place notes there, will my entire group see my notes? Once again, that is how you configure licenses. If you get an individual license, obviously you're only going to be the one to see your notes. For example, if you use a 14-day free trial, it's an individual license. You can't share that during that period. But once you acquire your license, if you create a concurrent group, and let's just use this one license, it's just two of you. So if you're both using that one license that's made into a concurrent group, can be one, can be more, but a group is what controls who views the notes that are made in there. So if you're within a concurrent group with other people, anyone else that has that concurrent group password would be able to view the notes and you'd be able to see them. That's what we're talking. Sometimes if there's different departments, people would like to have different groups. If there's people that don't want to see anyone else's notes, they just want to see their own, then that would be the case for an individual license. Okay, what I will do now is stop recording. I appreciate everyone taking the time to come to the webinar here. I will stay on until the top of the hour. If you got questions you want to ask directly, please feel free to do so. But once again, I thank you for your time coming to the webinar. I do encourage you to sign up for the free trial. Once again, there's no tricks to it, no credit card needed. It really is 14 days free to the DCP complete package. And I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for attending.